Music inside black communities of Colombian Pacific Coast. The Pacific Coast is located in the west of Colombia. It is a zone of 83,000 square kilometers that includes parts of 4 provinces: Chocó, Valle del Cauca, Cauca, and Nariño. This entire region is characterized by high humidity due to its higher rainfall, considered one of the highest in the world, with an annual average of 4,000 millimeters and in some places 12,000 millimeters. This zone is inhabited by Afro-Colombians who live inside the richest region of Colombia, but in very poor conditions. Also, we can find several indigenous communities belonging to different ethnic groups such as Embera, Awa, and Embera Chami, among others. The Colombian Pacific Coast is one of the most important regions in Colombia, not only for its natural resources, but also for its people. These people, despite of their marginalized condition, are characterized by an enviable sense of humor and wonderful musicians' wealth. These communities, which remain in the Pacific coastal zone, have strong sense of unity. Their families became the most important institution. In these towns, people show a dominant masculine presence in which the father is the economical support, but women are the strong backbone of the family. In many cases, the economical support provided by the father is affected by the fact that many men have 2 or in some cases 3 women at the same time, making it much more difficult to get enough money for all of them. Music plays a very important role inside of these Afro-Colombian communities. The knowledge of these people and their cultures have been transmitted through generation to generation since they arrived from Occidental Sudan, Congo, Guinea coast, and desert zone. All of those places are found in Africa. As Hortes powder makers state, the Negro did not come here culturally naked. We have to be aware that African slaves not only bought their strength to work, but music, customs, and beliefs. Slaves are ruled by the same master, under the shadow of religion, and Europeans used to practice in the name of King Ferdinand of Aragon and Queen Isabella of Castile, known as the Catholic King and Queen of Spain. These religious activities, also brought by missionaries, were accomplished by music. Slaves were allowed to bring drums at religious services as a Catholicism strategy to converting them to Christianity. As a result, slaves started playing their drums, mixing them with sacred music. Over time, they appropriated this music that will become in a religious context in the south as chigualos, velatorios, novenarios, velorio de santo, velorio, alumbramiento, guali, angelito bailao, muerto alegre, and so on. An example of musical syncretism could be found in the chigualo. It is a funeral ritual. It is a dead cult in which the pain for the loss of a familiar changes in the rejoicing and happiness because of the entrance of the child's soul into the kingdom of the spirits. They put the corpse of the child in hanging wooden box to swing it. These rituals represent the travel toward heaven and symbolize the transformation of the dead child in an angel. The melancholic songs are performed by the planideras, who are paid by the parents. The planideras have to cry all night long. The next day, the family gives a big dinner for everyone in the house. The ritual becomes a pagan celebration, drinking, eating, and dancing sometimes for 2 or 3 days. Curulao is a dance and a tune that can be considered as principal bass rhythm in the zone. Inhabitants of this specific region say that Patacore, Berehu, Juga, and Pango, among others, are rhythms derived from the Curulao. This music has high emotional levels of interpretation, and therefore it is very flexible. Making of this music is something truly quixotic when it comes to transcribe. Curulao is in its continuous transformation because its variability is a constant, and principally because this music is learned by oral tradition. So for that reason, it does not have notation, and the orality becoming the main source of apprenticeship in those communities. Finally, we can infer that these communities in the Colombian Pacific coast are full of customs and traditions. Their music has been preserved for years, but today is in danger. It is disappearing for lack of apprentices interested in continuing their tradition. The old marimberos are dying, and their music is dying with them. As above mentioned, these musical syncretism were an experiment in coincidence, but this coincidence became the heart of our music by the combination of the indigenous Spanish and Africans. It's time to look after these Afro-Colombian communities, helping them to preserve their music and culture. Fortunately, the marimba music was added by the UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage List. The UNESCO's Intergovernmental Committee made the decision in Nairobi, Kenya.
Porque como alacho y tabao, que porque hago coca y birimbí, que porque tengo tantos muchachitos, lo que pasa es que soy de Timbiquí, que porque como alacho y tabao, que porque hago coca y birimbí, que porque tengo tantos muchachitos, lo que pasa es que soy de Timbiquí, que porque hago tan duro y como yuyo, que porque hago un pepeado de Haití, que porque tomo jugo hecho tan duro, lo que pasa es que soy de Timbiquí, que porque hago tan duro y como yuyo, que porque hago un pepeado de Haití, que porque lo que pasa es que soy de Timbiquí. Que porque hablo tan duro y como yuyo, que porque hago un pepeado de Nidí, que porque como jugo hecho duro, lo que pasa es que soy de Timbiquí, que porque como alacho y tabao, que porque hago cocada y birimbí, que porque tengo tantos muchachitos, lo que pasa es que soy de Timbiquí.